This is a very sad development. As I observed Mazen Nnamdi Kanu as he walked through the courtroom, it is quite very disturbing. What I observe, based on my personal observations, just examine this picture, what it looks like. You will clearly see that the state of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu health has deteriorated to the point that it is feasible. You could physically examine or see the expression of his body. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu looks so unhealthy by the step when you're observing his steps, and his facial appearance is no longer Mazen Nnamdi Kanu I used to know. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu with this the development is in the state of emergency. Anybody who observes keenly, you don't need even to draw closer to see exactly what is going on within his internal system. His internal composition is in disarray. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu health is failing. That is just the simple truth. But he has been under the custody of the DSS. Is it several instances where the lawyer, the counsel to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu raised concerns over his deteriorating health, lacking potassium and the rest of them. Just observe his facial, his eyes. You see that his eyes is so red, and there are some round, dark, whatever that is being around his body. I mean, it doesn't look. You can see that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was not happy. His facial appearance does not suggest somebody who is healthy. You can see it when somebody is down to the point. When a man, a strong man, is down to the point, he was just managing to comport himself while he was walking. In the courtroom, I would have screenshot this, but my screenshot this thing button is very wrong, depending on when I fix it. But you can closely observe what exactly is going on. I felt bad. I would have screenshot this and upload it so that you can see exactly what I'm saying. If not for the 40 screenshot button or whatever system or whatever in my phone now, you can look up for that video, observe it closely. Today's court appearance was a very disturbing development. And yet, his health situation, his health condition is being politicized. They are using politics, they are playing politics with his health. Counter motion, deferring, adjoining, and the rest of them. Why the man is gradually living, is gradually going. No wonder suddenly the Abia State Assembly begin to call for protests, a peaceful demonstration for the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Where have they been since? Where has there been since? Not until this point that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's life is at stake. It's at stake. Where has the Eastern politicians been? Or they want Mazen Nnamdi Kanu dead and they will inherit the entire universe. The entire universe will be at their beck and call. No, this is my personal candid opinion and observation I am expressing. I'm not just raising my voice. But what I'm saying that this is an issue of a serious concern. A man who is presumed innocent, a man under the Nigerian legal system has not been convicted by any court of law. Even those who have been convicted to the point of death, don't they deserve certain human rights to be respected? the right to assess medical conditions pending on, of course, when their period of serving or whatever will be due. But this is a man who has not been convicted by any court of law and stand to be corrected. Prove to me any court of law. What is happening in Nigeria is vividly undeniable. It is very clear. Just as one of the constitutional lawyer expressed, that Nnamdi Kanu is being held behind the DSS dungeon, abandoned to his fate, despite the fact there have not been any court of law within the Nigerian legal system that have convicted Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, he's been treated as a criminal. That is being prejudicial. He's been denied his fundamental rights to access to good medical care. The doctors have revealed the state of his head, and this is now reflecting day by day. It is showing up now to show you that the internal organs is being affected, and is now reflecting in the physical, to the point that even people who are not experienced or who doesn't even have any background of health science could even read it clearly. I'm a student of health science. I think to O level, I sat for health science in WAEC and I passed it. So I understood the little I knew about his facial appearance does not suggest somebody that is healthy. No doubt the findings by his personal doctors or the doctor he approved, and of course, the Nigerian Medical Association suggests better evidence to this. Now, my concern is, why should someone who is innocent, imagine that the Kanu is innocent, the fact is being accused or trunk charges is being levied against him does not incriminate him. Not until, as the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution stipulate, an accused is presumed innocent until proven otherwise by a competent court of law. So there must be a law of competent jurisdiction to try Nnamdi Kanu, and if eventually is being indicted or convicted, then he could serve his own jail term or sentence. But sadly, and very painful, is the fact that a court of competent jurisdiction has tried Nnamdi Kanu case, and eventually discharged and acquitted him. This is a man whose life, whose health situation is being used to play caricature, to play football. Onye nke akụrụ geba, onye nke akụrụ geba, ewere ya na-agba ekoso, agba football. And the Eastern politicians are watching. The masses are observing what is going on. Now I understand the approach of the State Assembly, Abia State Assembly. When the house is almost engulfed in fire, okay. How suddenly has the Igbos lost their voice? If this were to be bad job, the Métis Allah, which are Fulani sociocultural organization or whatever movement, demanded for the unconditional release of Badejo, who happens to be the president of Métis Allah. And not just demanding for his unconditional release, that all the charges levied against him, bordering on terrorism and and sundry matters should be dismissed, withdrawn by the state, by the federal government. That otherwise, Nigeria will burn down. The existence of Nigeria threatened to cause mayhem, unleash mayhem, and the rest of them. And the Attorney General of the Federation, the current Attorney General family, a Yoruba man came publicly and told Nigerians and his audience, those who listened to him, that this case, Badejo case, is being withdrawn in the interest of national security. This is a man which even the government has justifiable reasons for arraigning him before the court. But here comes Nnamdi Kanu, who has been tried and found not guilty by an appellate court of law, by the highest court of law within the Nigerian legal system. And it's been held behind the bars. And some people are saying, even have the audacity to say, let him die there. How dare you compare Nnamdi Kanu with Boko Haram? Are you not seeing the activities of Boko Haram? Even those designing themselves with magazine, having peace deal with the Nigerian federal government, yet they are threatening. Look at what is happening in Zamfara. The onslaught, the killings of indigenous people, supposed citizens of Nigeria, is still ongoing, despite the peace deal across regions and the rest of them. This is quite unfortunate. We are here to promote human dignity and uphold the dignity of human sacredness and human life and fundamental human rights. We don't support violence. We point out to issues that will lead to violence and how to observe it, how to avoid it or avoid it totally. The government of Nigeria should do the needful to release this innocent man. He does not deserve such level of cruelty. There is no justification for that. He has been castrated, psychologically, emotionally, physically tortured, almost to the point of death. It means he has no family. Even a condemned criminal could not be treated in such a manner. Even a condemned criminal has certain rights, though his right of movement could be infringed. What has Nnamdi Kanu done to deserve this? Now, I listened to one of the lead counsels to Nnamdi Kanu. He made it very clear that we are Biafrans, including him himself, a lawyer, a son in the Nigerian, or a lawyer practicing within the Nigerian system. We are Biafrans before ever the concept of Nigeria was contemplated. The Yorubas are Oduduwas, and the Hausas were pre-existing before Nigeria. Conglomerates of amalgamation of Nigeria was designed just to protect by Flora Shaw and his boyfriend, just to protect the British interests, business interests, or economic interests. It is quite unfortunate. Now they are calling for protest. Protest here, protest here, protest here. They are going to fix the date for protest. Well, as much as they care, I am not against the protest or whatever they want to do, but let it not be that in a bid to confuse the gullible people to believe they have been pressing for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Where have they been in the last 5 years? A na-ama ọkwa mmiri, mmiri na-emechakwa ma ndị Igbo. Mmiri ga-amabeghị ha, ha ga-etute. Not at the nick of time, when the water is almost overwhelming. Back ha ga na-akpụkpagharị aka. What the House State, Abia State Assembly is doing is ịkpụkpagharị aka. Oke ọha, ndị oke ọha nọ n'ụlọ ewu ọma n'ọbụ. It's a Yoruba man, Sowore is the one canvassing. Let people come and join the solidarity. P2B should come and do this. P2B has been observing this. The politicians have been observing all these things, and they're keeping boots, looking for a presidency. One Nigeria presidency. Onyome Eliza. Onyome Eliza. Okamanama. I wouldn't say I'm annoyed because I have my consolation. Martin Nnamdi definitely will not die in DSS dungeon. It is impossible. Not that the world is watching. I believe strongly in the cause of Nnamdi Kanu. Even before now, with all this that is happening, my father told me my background, who I am. So there is nothing you can do to change it. You can't force a false identity on my personality. You can't force people to change their identity. Why you have made them deliberately not to be part, you have told them they are not part, an integral part of the system called Nigeria. How could a section of the country be treated in such a manner? As one of the lead council have raised concerns that Nigeria politics has two laws. Even the House of the law, one of the lawmakers or House of Representatives from Nnamdi Kanu's constituency or region in Abia State said that Nigeria practices two laws. This is the same man who was clashing with the rep speaker, Abbas, that a letter of petition he filed, he submitted to the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives was ignored since 26th of August, was unattended to. And when he raised the concerns, the Speaker, House of Rep, a Fulani man, is telling him that you should have come to meeting one-on-one and put a call to him before whether he could consider attending to it or not. What exactly does that mean? That is the state of emergency and concerns are being raised. These are people from the same constituency with Nnamdi Kanu. Perhaps his petition was ignored and you think he could feel better. He should be happy and keep silent and amulaya n'Igbo. Dịka amụ na-alala ndị Igbo n'Igbo. Apịrị ụnụ apị ndị Igbo. Ụnụ nkịta apịrị apị. Amụ na-alụzi ekeli. When you come, you say Fulani who is Fulani? What is their population? But they stood their ground regardless of, you may call them minority. But they stood their ground and demanded that Mieti Allah Bodejo, the president, Badejo, must be released on condition. They didn't say it, whether you want it or not. Threats were flying from up, left, and right. Sadly, some Igbo politicians are calling for amnesty to be granted to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. What the truth is that mgbe gbubiri abụghị mgbe ọ na-akpọnwụ. Onye nyechie chi ụzọ, onye nyechie chi ụzọ, ọ lọtawa, ọ ga-ezute ya. That is the Igbo proverb. The worst of it is that anụ nọ n'ụlọ, oke nọ n'ụlọ gwara oke nọ n'ọhịa na agụ nọ na ngụga. N'ihi na ụmụ Igbo mere onwe ha ka oke, buso a na-achụ ha ọsọ. Ụmụ Igbo mere onwe ha ka oke, buso achụwa ha ọsọ. Ha wụzie ihe eji agba egwuregwu. Some are shouting they are going to protest. They are demolishing their house. This is just the beginning. Ojukwu told you 30 years ago. But you put your Ojukwu amaghị maka ọ kpatachala ego chọọ ka ịkpata ego. You are not confessing with your mouth. Nke a ka bụ mbido. Nke a ka bụ mbido. And I practice you, so I should pity you. I got hang a transformer. Ihe ọ ga-eme unu ole mgbe nkwa ole unu mụta ihe. Well, let me leave you with these reactions. It's a painful experience. It's a painful development. But whatever be the case, let's have your own take regarding these updates and developments.